Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, Twitch, and the Prepper Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is September 15th, 2022, and this is episode 169 of the Workshop Podcast. Well, I just finished up a really fun interview with Cam and Coby from the Casual Preppers Podcast. I've been looking forward to this interview for quite some time. I hope you enjoy it as well. Real quick, we're going to get a couple of announcements out of the way. So, real quick, Saturday morning will be the last live workshop episode, at least that I can guarantee you, for the next couple of weeks, 2 weeks. I'm going to be at Prepper Camp next weekend in Saluda, North Carolina, and the weekend after that I'm going to be in Camden, Tennessee at the Self-Reliance Festival. I guarantee you I will do some live streams from the road, but I can't promise when or where I'm going to be doing them. So, I've got 4 pre-recorded episodes coming up for you, so I hope you enjoy those. Tickets are still available for Self-Reliance Festival, so if you're still on the fence, pick some up. And finally, I'm planning a meetup at Self-Reliance Festival for workshop members. So anybody who is a member of the workshop community and you want to get together, we will have one of the evenings at Self-Reliance Festival. We'll find a spot, we'll sit around, we'll shoot the shit, shoot the breeze, maybe sit around a campfire, maybe live stream, who knows. But we're going to have something like that there. So keep an eye out. If you're there, come and find me, and we will have a get-together. That is it for now, guys. So I really hope you enjoy my interview, the conversation that I just finished up with Cam and Coby from the Casual Preppers Podcast. Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. We got a good one for you tonight. We got a couple of hard-looking characters. I brought them in from the land of Mormonville, and here they are, Cam and Coby from the Casual Preppers. How are you guys?
Man, we're so excited to be here. Thanks, Tim, for bringing us on, and glad to chat.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's good to have you. I reached out. I gotta. So I don't know. I think I ran into or found you guys. I basically listened to every single prepper podcast out there, start to finish, in about 4 days. So I ran through ran through everything, and I'm like, so I put prepper into the search on iTunes. Yeah. And this strange podcast called The Casual Preppers come up, and I'm like, oh, man, they don't sound very professional, but I'll give them a shot. And so I got you. Anyway,
we never got there, did we?
No. Well, I was out mowing, and if anybody had seen me, I run a handyman business. I was laughing out loud to laughing out loud to myself. That's wrong, but yeah. So, I got a message before. I was probably about a month ago from a lady. She's like, I got to let you know. She says, I try not to listen to the Casual Preppers in public anymore. She says, because I giggle all the way through every episode. She said, thanks for telling us about it. So I'm like, hey, whatever, So,
oh, that's awesome. We appreciate you listening, man. And we giggle through every episode too, so it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun. You guys just kind of feel like two friends. I know you're not really friends in real life, and you don't hang out. But, so, who is Coby and Cam? Where'd you guys come from? How did it start? Since we're kind of handyman related in prepper here, I always got to ask what your first high school job was too. That's always fun.
Ooh, so, oh, nice.
Yeah. First high school job. I worked for my dad. My dad was a tile setter. So I would go through and I would pop spacers. That was my first job. I think I was like 13 or something like that. So I popped spacers from tile at 13.
Awesome. Just walked around and pulled them out.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I actually had a tool. I had a spacer popper. Oh. And I popped those suckers out because they're huge houses out in Park City, Utah. So these would be like, 6, 7, 8,000 square foot houses. So there'd be a ton of tile. So I'd do it for hours on end, just popping spacers.
Best.
Did you get paid by the hour or by the spacer?
I don't think I even got paid. It was for my dad.
That's what I figured. I
got burritos. I got burritos and Pepsi probably.
In a bed.
In a house. Yeah, in a bed.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was my first job.
Yeah. Okay, right on.
And so mine, so I grew up on a dairy farm, so I don't really count that as my first job because I was born and raised to just work for my dad.
Mhm.
So I actually got a job in high school doing vinyl fences just to kind of branch out and do some different work. And so I kind of figured that's my first official job was
Nice.
installing vinyl fences.
Did
Hate
they
doing it now, still hate it.
Yep.
did they send you for any like metric nails or cordless extension cords, things like that? Or
Yeah. I had a lot of fun doing the job, but even to this day, I have a wood fence. My wife's like, "Let's put a vinyl fence in." And I'm like, "Nah, I ain't doing it. We have a lot of rock, and it just sucks. I hate it."
yeah, I always up here. I use an auger bit, and it's literally soil. When I'm done, I suck the loose soil out with a shop vac. When I'm done, we never.
my
Oh,
gosh.
jeez.
All my Americans like down in Texas, all my friends, they always give me a hell of a time for it.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
Here, no, we hit like Indian, like
Yeah, it's
burial and
it's straight up
rock
rock.
and-
Yep.
Do you have to do a report on that when you hit Indian burial grounds, or?
they do have a lot of stuff around here, but here, I haven't run into any myself.
No.
Hoping to.
So how'd you guys
We do
meet?
have to do a report.
How did we meet?
Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful, glorious story that is near and dear to my heart.
It is a good one.
Right? Yeah. Cam moved in across the street from me, just out of the blue. There he was, standing out in the middle of the road, looking at his new house.
Yeah.
I know. And well, even weirder, actually, I had met him before and I didn't realize it. Cam was a PA, or is a PA, I suppose still is. And I saw him in clinic at one point, and then I recognized him as he was standing out in front of my house. And that's how we met, right, Cam?
Yeah, that was how we met.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yes,
we
sir.
just kind of, I don't even know what we talked about. And
I don't know either.
soon enough, we were like, "Hey,
We
you
started
play
a podcast.
PlayStation? What's up? Let's play PlayStation." And then we became friends.
So you did like the Step Brothers thing. Did we just become best friends?
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys are video gamers too, then, eh? And yeah, for the
used to-
record, I always thought it was Days, and you guys let me know it was Daisy. So
Oh, Daisy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Days.
Days. That's funny.
That's what it looks like.
We used to play a lot. We really did when we first met, but I don't play as much anymore. I wish I had the time and the patience to do it, but
Yeah.
I don't as much
I
anymore.
still will get on with my brother. My wife gives me an allowance of like
Mhm.
3 hours once a week. I usually get on with my brother, but I don't play as much at all anymore either.
did you guys try VR at all?
Yeah, I have a VR.
I tried it for the first time like 3 months ago, and I'm like, because I live in Canada where gun laws are not quite as relaxed as where you live,
Yeah.
and there's quite an opportunity in there for a
A
little
lot
bit
of
of training.
They have some really detailed games.
So you guys have VR up there too. Wow.
Well, yeah, we have to do it through dial-up. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Is
and
it all just hockey games, or do you have other things?
just stream VR. He just watches
He just
somebody do it.
watches Americans play VR.
see, I wear those haptic vests so I can feel the puck hit me in the chest.
Oh, yeah.
It's
That
pretty
was,
sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, but we don't wear we don't wear goalie masks, so we're pretty
of course
tough,
not. Wow.
So you guys get I love, so I don't know when it was. I was a couple months ago. You guys did one of them social media feedback episodes where you like read all the best comments that you.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, those are kind of fun. The guys on there. What do you think of that? That kind of cracks me up sometimes. Do you have a hard time dealing with that, like the criticism or did you? Okay, let me slide back a little. Was it harder when you first started, or have you got over it?
Let me tell you, when we first started, it was like every single one of those negative comments or negative reviews, it was like a kick to the freaking nuts every single time. It was horrible. And it would like affect me for
Yeah, it
weeks.
bugged me too.
It was really, really bad. And then finally, we just kind of got to the point where it's like, look, we're just going to do what we're going to do. There's going to be people that hate it. There's going to be people that like it. And the people that want to come along for a ride, that's fine. And the ones that give us this negative feedback, we'll just throw it back in their face and we'll make fun of them and we'll make fun of us. And that's just kind of how we've approached it. And I don't think it really affects us anymore. Does it?
No,
I mean,
it
after
doesn't.
5 or 6 years, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Kind of laugh at some of them. We're just like, well, there it is. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
They make good content too, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
seriously,
we have two different types of podcasts. We have our regular casual preppers. We talk about prepping and all that kind of stuff. And then we have a every other week we have one that we call Mindless Banter, where we talk about conspiracies or we talk about kind of whatever. But the name of it actually came from
somebody's comment,
a bad review we got. It's like, I couldn't listen to this mindless banter for an hour or something. They're like, hey, I like that.
We're like, hey, let's do some mindless banter.
So that's why we called that one Mindless Banter, just from a bad review, you know.
Do you guys know, I don't know if you ever Special Operations Equipment with John Willis? I don't know if you know him or not, but
I do not know.
Yeah. Anyway, so he sells some pretty cool tactical gear down in Tennessee. Cool. And whenever he has somebody that runs him through the rakes in social media, he uses their username as a discount code.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I like that. That.
It's pretty good. I forget what he calls it, feeding the trolls or something like that. It's pretty good, but
you kind of have to. I mean, if you're doing something like this, you know, in media, in public, you got to learn to get that thick skin, because if you don't, we also just don't want it to affect the way that we approach the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want to continue to do it the way we do it, because that's the way we like to do it. And so you kind of just have to take that stuff as it is and say, it doesn't matter. We're just going to continue.
Yeah. We had a lot of people that were like, they do too many voices. I can't take it. And we tried for a minute to cut back, and then we're like, we just can't do it. I don't know why. When we get together, it just comes out. Our wives hate it. We love it. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Who does the best Russian voice?
Coby.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know.
Coby, kind of the one that started doing it, like when we used to play some video games together, and then from there we just keep doing it.
Man. Yeah, the voices, the accents, they're fun. They get you in trouble sometimes, but they're fun.
Yeah, we've gotten in trouble for them.
Yeah, well,
we kind of steer clear.
Did you guys ever read Going Home, the book series?
I started it, but I have not read all of it, actually.
I had Chris on here, the author, a while back, and he's less than politically correct for sure. And I told him I appreciate him. Like I love his candor, and it reminded me of, you know, high school buddies sitting around, and that's what you guys remind me of, is like two high school buddies sitting around. But some of the jokes we used to make, we probably can't anymore. You know, it's getting tougher. Let's put it that way.
I know it really is, and it shouldn't. Like,
I mean, our pre-show is usually where we get out all the bad stuff. We try and like we're sitting there right before we hit record, and we get it all out. Like, okay, now we can do the podcast, and hopefully we don't piss anybody off, and we can take it down a notch. You know?
Yeah.
Do you ever slide into something you're like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have went that far?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Even it's usually a comment that we're like, man, our wives are gonna not like that.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I think only once have we ever edited anything out of the podcast. Out of 200 and how many episodes do we have? There's only one time that I
don't even know what we
I won't tell you what it is, but there was one time.
I knew you would. That's okay.
This is the only time we ever. So everything else, it's just we've left it in, and we don't edit anything. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think everybody does. And you guys are real. I like it. You know, it's for the most. It's just guys sitting around, busting each other's balls a little bit and having a little bit of fun. And you're kind of PG-13, aren't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I had this great intro lined up. I was like, so I was going to introduce you guys as award-winning documentarians for the Bigfoot. And then, so of course I do my due diligence when I'm prepping for a show, and I find Coby's LinkedIn profile. And it turns out that he is an award-winning documentarian, or at least so I go down a rabbit hole, and I watch this 7-minute short documentary called, is it 3 Sons and a King? Is that right? Yeah. That was really cool. Can you talk about that a bit?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I didn't expect that question at all, but yeah, it's in my day job, that's what I do. Obviously the podcasting is also kind of my day job, but I'm a filmmaker as well. I work in media, but yeah, it's a guy we knew. He actually lives here in town. He was a double amputee, and he was getting ready to climb the highest peak in Utah, which was Kings Peak. And we're like, hey, let me come along and bring some camera equipment and just capture it, you know?
So you were the camera guy?
Yeah, I did everything top to bottom, basically. Yeah. So I was with him the whole, I can't remember how many miles it was. It says in there somewhere, but I had 50 pounds worth of camera gear on my back, plus my other stuff, you know, and we just kind of captured the whole 3-day journey, and we edited it together and put it out. That's
really cool. Right from the beginning, I knew you guys had Chris here just a minute ago, he just said, your acoustics are amazing. Are you in a studio, or have you built something at home? And you guys work hard on that, or you do?
Yeah, we are in a studio right now. Yep, this is a studio, but we didn't start here. This is not. We started in my basement. My unfinished basement is where it all began. But I think from the very beginning, sound was pretty important to us.
It was. That was a big part of why it started too. Coby had the equipment from, being a musician.
Yeah.
Not a award.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a very long time ago. We don't need to talk about that, but I had the equipment, and so I'm like, hey man, let's just try this. I've got some equipment. We'll just put it up in my basement and we'll go. And so that the sound has always kind of been important to us from the beginning, because I hate to listen to a podcast where it sounds like someone's using their phone, sitting in their tub, with their wife yelling at them from outside and the dog barking. I just hate it so bad. So. But now, obviously, after 5 years or so, we're here in the studio, so it's it is state of the art, pretty much. So we're blessed to be where we are, really.
I went back and listened to your very first episode as well, just because. Yeah, it's okay. It was still there. There weren't any voices, and you had a flag. So okay, this is going to be the ignorant Canadian in me.
Okay,
it was a flag of a snake that was all cut up.
Yeah.
What flag is that? I know the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, but I think was
that
there too,
that if I can remember, I think that's the Gadsden flag.
Was it yellow?
No, this is
it's white.
It was an early flag that I think Benjamin Franklin had made about when they were trying to get the colonies together. Oh, it's been so long, I don't remember. I'm not a history major, but it's something to do like that. Somebody's going to be on there typing like, these idiots don't know what the flag is, but it's something like that.
Cool. Yeah. So when did you guys, I guess you're not women, so I can ask you how old you are, but go back a little bit. In those comments, I remember one of your reviews one time, somebody called you because the name's Cam and Coby. They're like, a bunch of friggin' millennials, I think they said or something. Yeah. So do you identify as millennials or Gen Xers?
So we're kind of right at the cutoff. I was born in 81. Cam was born in 81, right?
Yeah.
Both born.
I was born in 81.
In there.
So, yeah.
Slipped in there.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to know for Gen Xers or millennials, because I think it's right at that cutoff. Is it officially millennials at this point?
I think both. I mean, I grew up with Kurt Cobain and grunge, so I call myself a Gen Xer. You know what I mean? So
that's me too. Yeah.
I've heard there's a mindset that you could be considered a geriatric millennial, which is that's the worst name in the world, but it's like you grew up in a time that had Game Boy and all this old stuff, but you're also, you have knowledge of tech that you can apply to different work environments. So you're kind of like a hybrid. I'm like, I guess I kind of fit into that.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Definitely not the majority millennial mindset. No.
Do you remember the first time you used the internet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I sure remember.
When was it?
Middle school?
Yeah.
Middle school.
So
I remember I had a class. It was called information processing in middle school.
It was all
and it was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? This is insane.
Yeah.
And I remember the only thing we knew to do we went to mtv.com and I was downloading Bush music videos.
Oh,
I remember doing that. Like that.
Come Down is my all-time favorite song. So anyway, Come Down, Come Down.
That was my first concert. My first concert ever was Bush in 1995, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
It was a beautiful moment. But yeah, that was my first time using the internet, was at school in the information processing class.
I think it was the same time I used it. Was a class that they taught us about just how to use web browsers and how to search and www. I think Amazon was around then too, and I remember looking at them like, man, it's got a lot of books, and I wish I would have invested in that.
Yeah,
if I would have been taught finance, which we don't get taught ever.
There's a lot of things we don't get taught, isn't there?
Yeah.
You guys remember GeoCities?
GeoCities, yeah, I had a GeoCity at whatever it was. I vaguely remember doing that in was it high school or was it middle school? I can't remember. Yeah, I remember GeoCities.
That's what I was gonna ask you guys about. You're obviously into, I not necessarily say paranormal, but conspiracies and stuff. You have fun with that because I remember back in the 90s, every Sunday night it was X-Files or Unsolved Mysteries, and
I still remember the tune.
Oh, it gives you chills just a little, And then GeoCities, I used to go through GeoCities everywhere watching Alien, whatever I could find. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
So how did you guys get into that? Because that's
into conspiracies.
Well, okay. Because because so many people in the prepper space take it so dead serious, right? Like,
Yeah.
you'll get, I always get, I don't want to step on toes, but you get those comments like the Rothschilds or the whatever, you know what I mean, right? The guys or the guys that treat your Bigfoot documentary as 100% gospel, right?
It is. Yeah.
We got to ask you about that too. But
That's
so
Mark, Luke, John, Bigfoot.
I was always interested. I loved the stuff like spontaneous human combustion. I never took it too serious. And that's why I always liked you guys talking about it.
Yeah.
How did it start? Like,
that's
because,
a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, how did it start?
I don't know.
I'd have to say it was Coby's interest more than mine. Like, not that I'm not interested in it. We live in a very like unique place that has some really weird conspiracies and UFO sightings and things like that. So it's, I mean, I've always like been interested in that, but I don't know what kicked it off.
Yeah, I don't know either. I always had like a weird little fascination with UFOs when I was young. I remember the very first book report I did
once.
You get abducted one time and it's just like
stuck in your brain.
You just can't get rid of it. No, but the very first book report I ever did was on UFOs, and I don't know why. I never know. I remember that. I know. Me and my buddy Lead, lived in Murray, but anyways, and then growing.
Still have it?
No, I don't have the book report anymore. My mom, maybe she's got it.
It's on the fridge home.
And my mom still got it on the cork board.
This is his best work
in the mudroom.
He peaked in grade 5. Sorry.
Oh, I absolutely did, man. I was a badass in grade 5. But you should see my girlfriend too. She was something else.
An alien?
Yeah. Then growing up, my grandpa owned Spirit Lake Lodge. If you've seen the Bigfoot, you know that's where we were at. And so he was always telling stories about Bigfoot and ghosts and stuff up there, because you're up in the woods in the summer, and he's always got scout groups and young women. One of the
best storytellers.
Oh my gosh,
I think I've ever met.
So good. And so I think that sort of sparked my interest in it. But again, it's always been kind of, oh, this is fun. You know, it's never been.
You might have been reading something at the time too.
Yeah, maybe I was.
It's just kind of like, well, let's do a mindless banner about it, and then from there, it just kind of stuck.
Yeah, it snowballed.
I like it. I love it. I appreciate it, because I went back, I was looking through all your episodes, and like the first 20, 30 are just like hardcore prepping stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then you start branching out. Yeah. I don't, where it came from for me was, I hate being pigeonholed. I mean, I'm a prepper. I love to talk about prepping, but I like to kind of flex. I don't know. I don't want to say artistic, but just different muscles, you know, about different things.
Exactly.
Keep it from getting stale, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But is that kind of why you guys like
to do what the mindless banner thing we were talking about? Like, what other things can we throw in? And we wanted to just get together more each week, because we were doing every other week. And we were like, let's just talk about whatever we want. And we actually, like, part of it came from our previous podcast that we just like, didn't we do a podcast on an article?
Yeah.
And then we were like, that was pretty fun. We should do something similar to that. And then somebody had made the comment, and we're like, oh, let's call it mindless banter. And I think our first mindless banter was a conspiracy, wasn't it?
Boy, I don't even remember.
I don't either.
But yeah, we love talking about that stuff, and it was really interesting, and it gave you a lot of opportunity to make fun of things. And that's obviously, if you've listened to us, you know, that's our sweet spot. If we can make fun of something, if it can be interesting, that's what we want to do. And so
conspiracies are easy too. People get hot about
they do get super hot.
It's pretty funny.
And there, like you said, I think there is crossover with people who are interested in prepping that are really interested in conspiracies and things like that as well. So I think it kind of made sense, and we're just like, hey, let's just go down this rabbit hole. And
we had done episodes too about alien survival, like our Halloween episode, about alien, and I think that was just before mindless banter too. So it's like, there's some funny stuff.
When I first I worked my way through the documentary. I'd been wanting to do it for a long time. I finally found time there the other day, and somehow I missed that the elderly gentleman was your grandfather. I don't know how I missed it. So I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, what's his name? And his last name come up, Coonrat. Is that right? Or So I'm like, that's got to be a made up name. So I Google it. I put it in like Urban Dictionary, and it says Coonrat, another name for redneck. And I'm like, they're friggin' trolling me. And so then I wait in the credits. I'm like, that's also his name. And then it's literally on your LinkedIn. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't bring that up live, even though I just did.
That's hilarious. No,
I don't know how I missed
that's
that.
Grandpa. Yeah, that's the guy who kind of got me into it all. So we had a good time.
I had an idea too. So you guys ever watch that Oak Island Mysteries? Do you know that one?
I've watched that.
I know
one.
of it. I haven't
Okay.
really seen it though.
So it's a master class in doing a show teasing you for 9 seasons and never actually finding anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was you guys could probably do that with the Bigfoot, you know? And at some point, if you want to come up here, we could do one. And you know, because the
I'd love to go.
Abominable Snowman, you know, and I thought we could call it like Bigfoot 3, not quite Yeti.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm just not sure they'll let us in Canada. Do you think they would? I don't know.
I
Doubt it.
I can find you ways in. You know?
Okay, nice. Yeah. That's a big border. We could find a way through somewhere, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Unless, I don't know, but then maybe they got the drones, you know, all the conspiracy theory. Yeah.
That's right.
That's true.
So you guys graduated in 99. Do you guys remember Y2? Obviously remember Y2K.
I graduated in 2000.
Oh.
Yeah, held back a year in kindergarten.
So you peaked before
That was the year you got abducted.
Yeah.
I missed a whole year that year.
You know, you went to school and all of a sudden you showed up a year later and you had a mustache and they couldn't quite figure out what happened.
Yeah.
It was like was that Flight of the Navigator?
Oh yeah. Yep.
That movie creeped me out as a
I had
kid.
a similar experience.
Yeah. It was basically that was on your
That
life
was
story.
my life.
I had a listener.
Whole thing.
I had a listener a little while ago. We did a Memories of Y2K show.
Oh, yeah.
And he said his mom still has a Y2K room in their basement with 20-year-old mayo and expired tuna.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
I was like, yeah. Do you guys remember that? Like,
yes.
what it was
I remember
like?
coming up to that. Yeah.
We did an episode not too long ago on
We did.
Y2K, actually.
Yeah.
You'll have to check it out.
That. I'll have to go back and see it.
Yeah, we did. We kind of talked about our experiences. There wasn't a lot. I
didn't feel much of the fear. I kind of remember it being a big deal and on the news a lot, but I don't ever remember even worrying about it.
I spent the night at my grandpa's. I remember that, and we were talking about it and
on Y2K.
On Y2K, yeah. Yep. I remember that, and we had
I remember standing guard.
We had non-alcoholic beer. I remember that. He always bought us that on New Year's.
That's cute.
Bitch, son.
Yeah, so we were this is your first and last beer. Have fun. There's no alcohol in this. Just tastes like crap. So yeah, I remember that hanging out with my grandpa's and he was talking about it like he was obviously he is who he is, and it was like this could be the end. It says in the scriptures the blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay.
You know, and so that's just grandpa, and you just kind of have to take him with a grain of salt. But yeah, I remember Y2K very well.
It was, I had a chemistry teacher in high school. I was like 96, 97. He put this, you remember newspapers? They used to be a thing for all those millennials that are a little younger than us, but he actually cut an article out of a newspaper, which I know seems strange at this point, but put it up on the paper and on the whiteboard. What's that?
Just the words.
The words, yeah.
Together.
I think they call it the Millennium Bug or something.
And stuff, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, this could be bad, guys. So like for the next 2 years, I'm thinking, oh, freaking white, what is this? You know, and then it turned out to be, I don't want to say a nothing burger, but you know, one of our sayings around here has been prepping since Y2K. So that's kind of our, you know, it's like, that's the genesis for me is I think where it came from anyway, you know, but
yeah, Windows 98 still worked. I played Age of Empires the next day.
Oh, Age of Empire. I loved Age of Empires.
That was the first time I had, like, I remember calling my friends. I'm like, okay, you get on there and I'll call you. And, you know, we're like connecting. And then it was all out of sync. You know, they're like, I'm seeing something different on the screen. It's like, but that was like one of the first times I ever linked up with somebody online to play a game. Oh, man, that was good.
Did you open it up with ASL? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just I'm really dating myself now. So
yeah.
Trying to pick up chicks on Age of Empires. I don't know how successful that would be.
You remember like those first chat rooms,
boys?
Yeah. Do you remember those first chat rooms? Like how crazy that was, how weird that was just to get on and start chatting with
I used to play
people.
blackjack on Yahoo. Like Yahoo had all those games. Like
Yahoo games, remember? Yeah.
I played that and pool and stuff. And I remember chatting with who knows, probably a 56-year-old male that was like, I'm
grooming
cute.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really a 14-year-old girl who wants to meet you in person.
I love pool. You should show me more. Send me
You ever
pictures.
heard of To Catch a Predator? You know,
Yeah.
I think that came a little later, but we just didn't know it was that kind of innocent age of the internet where you're like, you know, the worst thing you'd stumble? Well, I don't know anyway, but I'm sure there's lots of things you can stumble across back then.
Yeah.
We'll just move along for that one, So Hunter wanted to know right quick here. He said, side question, not necessarily the answer, but why aren't y'all live on TikTok also? So you guys use TikTok quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Well, yeah, we do. We get all our crap for that too, but
because
we
China.
Yeah, we just all of a sudden we blew up on there out of nowhere, and we're like, crap, I guess we got to keep doing this. And then it just kind of dropped off, but we're still there.
Yeah,
we're still doing stuff there.
We don't dance and do all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not live on TikTok. We could go live.
So I was looking at that today because I've only been on TikTok for 3 or 4 months, and I had a video blow up too, so it was kind of cool. And I got this notification today. They're like, "Oh, you can go live." I'm like, "Oh, they don't let third-party streaming on there, so it's only there. So if you want to go live, you got to go just at TikTok, from what I can understand."
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I don't know. We're live on TikTok now, so there you go.
Now, yeah.
You got it.
See, you ask and you get it. Right?
Different angle shall receive. Yeah, it is a different angle.
He's the first one to join.
Behind the scenes.
I'm there.
This is where you can see Cam and Coby not wearing pants. So.
No, yeah, I made Cam wear pants this time. I've had enough incidents.
Cargo underwear.
Yeah.
Is that the 4-way crotch gusset? Is that what that
is?
Yeah. I've heard that once or twice. I laughed when I heard that.
Once you get that, boy, you never go back.
I only have a 3-way crotch gusset. I was thinking about upgrading. So
you should.
I don't know if you can even get that in Canada, though. That's the whole thing.
Well, see, they make them in metric.
Outlawed.
So, yeah. It's tough. Like the metric when they convert them, and they come from overseas, and they're always those Asian sizes.
I think the Mounties can get them, though.
They can, but see, they have to have a special permit. It's like carrying.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys did an episode on. So this is all. Not everybody even knows about this, but I don't know why I went down the Reddit rabbit hole one time. But good old Max Headroom, the Max Headroom incident.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is so damn intriguing,
dude.
It's creepy and
right.
I like it. Yeah.
So how did you find out, or what? How did that pique your interest? Because it's just an odd little thing.
It is. This isn't a weird story. That's a really good question. I think I just came across it one day on the internet somewhere, and I went down a rabbit hole. That's exactly what happened.
An easy thing for.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Max Headroom from back in the day.
Coke, whatever. It was.
Yeah, Coke and that kind of thing, and
it's on Back to the Future.
Yeah, Max Headroom is obvious.
That's right.
And so that's the only. I mean, I was like, oh yeah, there's a thing behind that.
And so I saw this story, and I'm like, what? This is insane. How cool is this? And
we should have had it pop up on this.
We should have, had it pop up on the screen, yeah. But I thought it was an intriguing story, and that kind of stuff really interests me. I don't know why. It's like somebody pirating some random signal into cable in Chicago. You know what I mean? How weird is that? But I don't know.
And
I don't know.
Decide to dress up that way and like so weird.
Yeah. It's a weird story.
So I'm going to be away for a bit, and I've got like 4 20-minute podcasts. I do video and audio recorded ahead of time. So this one's going to be weird, but I'm doing a bit on the Max Headroom thing.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So when I put it up there, YouTube flagged it, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? It says inappropriate content. So there's like 3 seconds where he bends over and she hits him with a fly swatter.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
I think that's what got me. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to leave it. So,
oh, that's hilarious.
But it was,
that would do it with all the other videos out there.
Okay. I don't know. I can't figure it out, but I went down a bunch. They figure it must have been a disgruntled former employee or something like that, because I guess it took like serious special, skills and tools and.
Yeah, he had to microwave a signal. He had to intercept a signal and then microwave it to another satellite or something to make it work. So this dude knew what he was doing. Somebody knew what they were doing. And boy, it's so interesting.
I don't know. It piques my interest. What about Art Bell? Did you guys ever listen to Coast at all?
I not like a ton, but I would just catch snippets of it here and there on the radio. They used to have it here all the time. It would like come on at like 10 p.m. or something in the evening, but I'd catch stuff here and there, but I never was like a regular listener of it.
I didn't, of course, I think he was in Canada. I don't know, but I'd never heard him till the last couple of years after he passed away.
Oh, okay.
And I got interested in him, and I always liked AM talk radio for some weird reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was pretty dull.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's boy. Oh, I'm telling. No,
I sure love it.
Yeah.
all
You never talked to a real Canadian before, have you?
This is our first Canadian. Holy cow. It's like
So-
meeting the Amish.
Is the automatic translator working well? I had to turn it on. I didn't tell you I turned it on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
You sound like it sounds really good. There's a couple words, but it's
once in a while, no do to
We're
boot.
talking about boats quite a bit. I
Boot and boot.
don't know. Yeah.
And we eat our poutine with our toques on.
Yeah. Something like that. I have been to Canada once, way back in the day. It was
Enjoy it.
beautiful.
It's
Were you
not
born
bad.
and raised in Canada? Did you say you were?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the East Coast.
I don't really hear. Honestly, talking to you, I probably wouldn't have noticed.
It's probably because Alberta and Utah sound very similar, and I've lived out here for a decade. So
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few you what do you call yourselves? Utah and Utahns?
Utahns.
Yeah.
I got a few. There's only a couple of words that strike me as different when I talk to them on like for a long time. I know they drag. I can't remember what it is now. There's
From Utah.
yeah.
We don't pronounce our T's.
Maybe
Mountain.
Yeah. They're just a little different, but yeah. So anyway, Belle, I was you guys anyway, you guys kind of remind me of that because you always, even though you laugh at subjects, you still give them their due worth. You know what I mean? Like he would have some of the kookiest friggin' guys on there, like just absolute batshit crazy. And he wouldn't treat him like an idiot. You know what I mean? Like he would just deal with the subject and okay, we'll move on. And
yeah.
Did you guys ever listen to the creepy one where he thought he had a guy on there from Area 51 and signal cut out? Did you ever? Yeah. What'd you think of that?
No, that's crazy. We talked about that in an episode, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
What
we talked about.
was
I think
that?
it was the Area 51 episode.
No, I think it was. We talked about something about transmissions that were
Max Headroom one.
Pirated transmissions or
That
something.
It was now that I think about it.
Yeah. What's up, SSR?
Did we do more on the Max Headroom one? I don't think it was just Max Headroom, was it?
I don't remember.
I thought we did
Depends
several of those hacked.
You had some kind of weird Russian one. I
Yeah,
remember that.
Siren or whatever. That one's creepy.
Yeah, like was it people getting killed? I can't remember what it
It
was.
just once in a while will pop in. The Russian one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one just randomly pops on and it just like is a countdown.
Oh, that's the that's a
Isn't it
different one.
like this siren or something?
That's a different one.
Oh, there was a whole bunch
That's a
of,
number station. That's the number.
Those are creepy too.
Yeah, that's super creepy. Yeah. I don't know. We've done too many episodes. It's hard to
It
remember
was
what's
video
what.
interception. That's
Yeah, it's like transmission.
Yeah,
Pirated.
that was a whole different episode too.
Mhm.
Huh?
When you get questions like that, you probably feel like the comic book guy on Simpsons. Do you guys remember in episode 14 when you're wearing a red shirt and now you're wearing a blue shirt?
Yeah, it's hard to honestly, like after the episode's done and I put it out, like it's gone. I don't remember almost anything. Like I'll come home and somebody will say something that was really funny. I'm like, what was it? I don't remember.
Yeah,
like I seriously have no idea. My memory is just bad.
They Cabot here said I need to do a Halloween War of the Worlds podcast. These guys would be awesome on that.
War of the Worlds.
That's a good one.
That broadcast, that's one we've had on our actually, I don't know if he's talking about that, but the War of the Worlds broadcast, back in the day, and people started freaking out because they thought it was actually real aliens. That's super interesting too. That's one we want to talk about at some point.
Yeah, they all believed it was a real deal.
Because they played it pretty straight, didn't they? Or
They did, yeah. They just kept releasing like little bits about what was going on. Like the aliens are now at this point, and people were like had no idea it was just a program.
Yeah.
And I learned, I think it was in your guys' podcast, one of the alien ones where, oh my God, what was the one? I think you did it recently. The guy it was made up stories in the newspaper. Does that ring a bell? I know. Yeah. Anyway,
Man,
it was alien abductions and
airship, the mystery airship.
The airship. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we even did that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's all right. Don't worry. Yeah, people ask me. I'm like, oh yeah, apparently I did cover that topic.
UFO. Yeah.
This guy says we need to get Tim a drink or two. So I don't know what that means.
I don't know, but I got bourbon here. I'm not drinking it tonight, but I normally have it. So maybe that's why. But yeah, I would. Yeah, that would be fun.
I had no idea all that stuff with airships was happening. That it had ever happened.
And well, I'd never heard that story at all. And then I listened to the Thor episode. I had a long drive today, so I listened to your Thor God of Thunder episode today. That was a pretty good movie review.
That was, man. That was the best movie of the year so far.
That's funny because when Coby like said, let's talk about this, I'm like, why are we going to talk about mythology? I'm like, I have no interest in like, and he's like, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
It was a story. It literally starts with a president getting a filling, and it leads into like.
Oh yeah,
That was our anti-dentite episode where we were going off on dentists like for 60 minutes straight.
That's all I could think about. I was like, what the hell did the dentist ever do to you guys?
I know. It's kind of an inside thing.
We were like trashing them.
Yeah, Cam and I have a little.
Somebody just said recently, like, I hope nobody has to go get a filling.
I hope one of these guys don't get a toothache
That's
at any
what it
point
was,
in their life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that freezing working? No. Okay. Time to start, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, far as aliens go, what's the best alien movie and why is it Signs?
It's Signs.
Okay, yeah.
Because M. Night Shyamalan is a genius of it. Atmosphere is like my favorite thing with movies, with books. I like the feeling. I want to be like creeped out. I want this atmosphere that I don't want to get out of. I want to stay in it. And M. Night Shyamalan with Signs, I think he just nailed it. He nailed everything from top to bottom. And he hasn't done that with a lot of his movies, but with Signs, he absolutely did.
Yeah, I love it.
All right.
It is so perfect.
Every year.
It's infinitely rewatchable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
It is Mel Gibson at his finest. I mean, I miss the guy tremendously, but that movie, oh my gosh, his performance and Joaquin Phoenix, my goodness.
They were all so good.
Like,
everybody.
And just the way the writing is like so freaking good. Like the dialogue is perfect. The mix of
I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
I know. I'm like, I
know you're making me want to watch it again too.
Yeah, it is funny. It's hilarious. The movie is so damn funny. It's just I love the mix. It's creepy. It's got aliens. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's smart. Freaking Signs. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life?
I grew up around cornfields too, and so I just know that feeling of feeling like something's out there and watching. You can hear the leaves like moving funny in one spot.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I like how he turned the trope on its head. So you remember in the 90s, we were all like crop circles were huge, right?
Yeah.
And then it came out that some Yahoo in England was walking around with a stick and knocking them over. He even mentions that in the movie. He's like, oh, it's probably some Yahoos with a stick or something. And then it's friggin' aliens anyway, you know?
Yeah.
And it spends like 3/4 of the movie building up to the alien. And one of my favorite scenes of all time is that party at the Mexican family's house, and the alien just see it gives you chills even thinking about it now.
It freaking I
think the part that got me is when he's like talking to him and he sits back and then in the window the alien stand on the roof for just a brief second. And it's like, boom.
That's a good, I agree though. He's watching the news, the kids in Brazil, and it is just like such a shocking moment to see that alien walk through this, like, and it's like a second. That's all it is. And then his reaction and Joaquin Phoenix's reaction is like so perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
It's getting a bit of a resurgence because it was, when it first came out, it was overlooked. Like
absolutely.
Because, he had just, my favorite for a long time was Unbreakable. Sixth Sense was good. I loved Unbreakable. And then Signs was just, a lot of people are like, oh, did you see the aliens? The CGI was shitty. And I'm like, seriously? Like, that's what you're worried about? Did you not?
I've heard a lot of people say that too.
You got it with some holes. They definitely had plot holes, and the CGI wasn't great, but
it's the feeling.
Everything else was so good. Yeah.
Well, the atmosphere. It feels like it's the end of the world. You're in this little tiny farmhouse, and
it does.
Well, and even like this is like a Signs episode now, it feels like, but
that's all right. We can go wherever we want. So
even when they're going to town, like I love that they're in a small town. Everybody's kind of on edge. They're kind of freaked out about what's happening, and they're trying to figure it out. And just that feeling.
I like the feel of everybody being kind of weird. Like, they want to be be but it's not.
Everybody's just a little bit twisted, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Like, you remember when? Well, we're just going to keep talking about it because we can't.
I love it. Yeah.
You remember when he walks into the recruiting office?
Yep.
And the guy, you're like, what is wrong with this guy? He's just.
I thought that too. He's super creepy, right?
He's like,
the recruiter.
It feels like he just took like 1/10 of a hit of acid or something. He's like, he's right there and staring at you, and
but it works. Like it makes so much sense. Like it all fits together, right? Yeah, no.
It feels like it don't you guys like RoboCop or Total Recall, Paul Verhoeven or whatever. It has that bit of feel where everybody's just almost like a little bit of a caricature of themselves,
Yep.
And then I love when they're both running around the house and they meet back and he's like, I cursed. I heard that,
I know.
Oh, it's so good. Like, yeah, just that movie.
I think I
genius.
will watch it this week.
You got to watch it, man. If it's a movie you haven't seen in a while, you got to go back and see signs. And again, you got to suspend some disbelief here. Like, obviously, like the plot holes are there. The CGI kind of sucks, but just take it in for what it is.
It doesn't matter. It's so good. And other than maybe M. Night Shyamalan's performance, that was slightly lackluster, but
yeah, I don't know. It was good. I liked it all the way around. I really did. And the freaking soundtrack. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's on vinyl apparently, which I'm a vinyl snob.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a snob, but I got into collecting it a couple years ago.
Oh, okay, cool. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've been wanting to pick it up. So Nina says their podcast always cracks me up. I love both your shows. So thank you, Nina. I appreciate that.
Nina is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could, maybe some other time I'll have you guys back and we can do a whole movie show. That would be
awesome.
Our wives, we did one episode where we kind of talked about movie reviews just as kind of like a mindless banter filler. And our wife's like, you guys should do that. You had like,
I know, huh?
You guys were like more excited about that than you've been about anything for a while.
I know.
Get me excited. They do.
You perked right up. I love that. I can always tell when people get excited about talking about something. She's like, oh yeah, right, yeah. I do like about once a month. I'll do my top 5 90s post-apocalyptic TV shows, or I'll do I'm doing one tomorrow. What's today? Friday? No, Thursday. Saturday morning. I'm doing one on 90s post-apocalyptic stuff. So it's fun. Yeah. I would
like movies or what?
Yeah, this one's going to be movies. This is 1990s shit hit the fan movies. So
okay.
So,
all right,
let's play another one then. So what is the best comedy horror of all time, and why is it Tremors?
Okay. It's a great movie. Like, it's hard to argue with that. Really,
I loved it. I played it as a kid. I remember just walking around my whole farm on fences,
and
jumping from like cars. I think we invented parkour when Tremors came out.
They used sticks. It was incredible,
Oh yeah.
So I got to say, I only saw that movie for the first time 7 or 8 years ago. I don't know how I missed it.
Wow.
My wife was like, "You need to watch this, honey." I'm like, "I'm not watching a movie about stupid worms underground." I fell in love with it.
Damn ground.
Yeah, the gosh, yes, because apparently it was originally cut as an R-rated film, and they had to go back and remove.
That kind of makes sense.
And they went back and removed 3 or 4 F-bombs because
probably wasn't good for Reba's
that's true
career.
That is true.
Wait, but Burt Gummer's like the ultimate prepper.
He is, yeah.
They've done like 7 of them, and he's been in every one.
Has he really? He's been in all of them?
Every single one. He's the only one
I've only seen the first one, I think.
The one guy, Earl, I think he was in almost all of them. He just passed away recently.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Earl and what is Kevin Bacon's character's name?
I can't remember.
Yeah, anyway, those 2 guys have got the best bromance of any. Like, they are so much fun. The 2 of them,
yeah, they really did play. That was a good movie.
And the movie shouldn't work because it's cheesy. The effects aren't bad. But why is it such a damn good movie? I don't know.
It's just fun, man. Just
I remember
everything
fighting
about it.
over what character to be too. It's like, I'm Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name though. Dang.
I would have if I hadn't have been live on a live stream.
Yeah, you would know
about it. I remembered it like that, But
that's good. It's a great movie.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, that's a fantastic movie. I didn't really think I was gonna like it.
That one disturbed me.
Did it?
No, I loved it, but it took preppers into a dark. Like it made us look more crazy.
I thought it was great. I really did. I loved it. I got to go back and see that again.
I did too. I've only seen it once. Didn't we go to the theater together?
Maybe we did.
I swear we did.
Little bro date.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
No, our wives were with us.
Oh, were they? Okay, great.
I think. I don't know. Who cares? When we're together, it doesn't matter.
It don't matter. All you see is stars.
Yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane was great. That's up there.
John Goodman is so damn good too.
Super good, isn't it?
Yeah.
when I was a kid, they used to call me Dan off Roseanne. I used to have long curly hair, so they always said I looked like Dan.
Did they call you like literally Dan off Roseanne?
Yeah, hey Dan, they'd say Dan, or sometimes Babe, because he played Babe Ruth in the
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, Dan off Roseanne. But I love that movie. That, speaking of atmosphere, getting you into an atmosphere, I love small contained movies that take place in a room with 3 or 4 people. They're so good. I did a bunker episode too a while back about the best bunker movies, and but what what about War of the Worlds? Do you guys like that one?
I was gonna bring that one up.
Okay.
I loved that one creeped me out, and I loved like the first 75% of the movie. Like the first, what do you say? That's
probably about 75%. Yeah.
Like once they get in the once they get down in the basement, it kind of drags and it's depressing, and it's good, but I don't like to rewatch it.
The first half hour is so good. So that's a Spielberg movie,
It
right?
is.
It's Spielberg.
Yeah.
And the sounds, like this like the
sound,
it's
so good.
Creep me out.
The audio editing is fantastic. The audio design is fantastic. Tom Cruise, man, say what you want.
I love Tom
Cruise.
I do too.
So good in this movie. And then just the gritty feel of it, the way they shot it, it's like kind of has that like gritty kind of.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Yeah, you go watch it again, you'll see it. You'll know what I'm talking about, like the gritty feel, the way it looks.
It almost looks oversaturated, or almost like it was shot on, I want to say like 16 or so. I don't know exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of that kind of feel.
Way.
Maybe it's a little overexposed in points, but it's almost that way on purpose. It's I love it. I thought War of the Worlds was great.
I did
too. There's visual set pieces, like when the plane crashes, and they're in the basement.
That's or there, huh?
Yeah, it's
still
when the train goes by and it's on fire. Remember that? Like it's just these pictures that stick with you. You're like,
In the river, there's like the bodies when
the bodies floating in the and it's great. And then the boy gets a little bit that mopey teenager thing. That drives me a little crazy. But other than that, you're right. When it gets to Tim Robbins, is that who it is, or Tim?
Yeah, it is Tim Robbins. Yep.
Yeah. It's perfect up until that point. And he reminds me of the recruiting guy off of, they got that kind of, or is that the same actor? Maybe it is. I don't know.
A little off filter. Yeah.
My favorite scene in that movie is when he's like making peanut butter sandwich. She doesn't want it, and he just goes, he slaps it on the window, and it's like sliding down.
It's like when Walter White throws the pizza on the roof. You guys Breaking Bad fans?
I'm honestly, I didn't watch Breaking Bad. I know that's kind of weird.
Oh, that is strange. No, it's okay.
I tried to. I watched the first 4 episodes, and I'm like, I just can't get into it. I probably needed to go.
I needed to go a little further too.
I know, weird.
Somebody just said, Nina said, because of your interview a couple weeks ago, I just read the 1 Second After series. So you guys read 1 Second After?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? To me, that feels pretty realistic in a sense.
I think it makes you think about different aspects of like prepping and what you should prepare for, and the conveniences that we have that we wouldn't have. That's why I like that book.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great writing too. I mean, a lot of times you get into prepper type novels and books, and the writing is a little lackluster. But this one, he did a really good. The writing is great, especially in that first book.
You said you read the other one, huh?
Yeah, I think I read all of them. I think.
Have you read Yeah. So he was on the show the other day, and he dropped a bomb. He's working on book 4 of the series.
Oh, really? There's more.
I had no idea. Yeah. So there's 3 of them, and 2 and 3 aren't bad, but 1 is a friggin' class. 1 stands on its own.
One's so good. Yeah,
absolutely.
I did read that one.
Yeah, that one gave me a little kick in the pants.
The retirement home, or the nursing home scene. That is as dark and as gritty as it, like, people running out of oxygen, the sanitation.
I'll make a movie of that.
Just the whole thing with his daughter too. It's just
that's a diabetic.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of those things that opens your eyes a little bit, especially if you have somebody like that in your life. You're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I get, how do I prepare for something like that? I actually have a really good friend I went to high school with who just found out he had diabetes, and he's got the pump. He's got like everything. And he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, dude, I mean, that's a really tough situation to get through. And we've talked about it 100 times. We got to do an episode on it. Cam's got some guys that are sort of specialize in that type of thing, right?
They actually like sell. I mean, they're reps for different insulin companies, but they've done some experiments on themselves just because they have type 1, and they're like, can I freeze this and it will still work and stuff, So
any chance you might? You probably can't interview them, can you? Or is it just
He
one of
was
those?
going to come on, as a non-representative for the company, but I lost contact with him. I think he got. I mean, drug reps change jobs like every 5 seconds, so I haven't talked to him for a while. He used to do a podcast for diabetes with some guys, and so I haven't heard.
I always, if they can invent shelf-stable insulin at some point, maybe I don't understand the physics or the chemistry behind it at all, but it'll be a game changer. I think it will have to be, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big firm probably knocked him off. That's probably what happened.
That's probably exactly what happened.
Damn
Yeah.
Rothschild.
Rothschild,
Yep.
New World Order.
They probably them the alien from Venus too. They do it every time. So
Yeah, skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers, yes.
Skinwalkers.
They're
What about a
well
lot?
known
What's that?
to be anti-diabetic. The skinwalkers.
What about Last Babylon?
Oh, loved it. That's one of my favorite books of all time.
What was that one? I never
Such a
read that.
classic. It's like it was written in the 50s. It's kind of a nuclear war post-apocalyptic thing, but it kind of goes through the process, which I love. I love books where you're actually experiencing the event and before the event.
Yes.
I'm not as big on post-apocalyptic. It starts as 100 years after a nuclear war ravaged the earth.
I could see that too.
I really actually right now I am reading Lucifer's Hammer. I don't know if you've ever read that one, but it is another classic. It's a classic. It's like the quintessential. It was written in the 70s. It's about a comet that hits Earth, and it's like 600 pages long. It's a freaking epic book. But the first 300 pages are just getting to the event, which I love. So it's a nice lead up. It has the event, and then it has stuff after. So that's the kind of stuff I really like with that sort of apocalyptic fiction.
Have you ever read? This is a little deeper. Have you ever read On the Beach by Neville Shute?
I have.
That. Oh my god. So I put that right in the same category as The Road. Like if you want to be depressed for a week, read that book.
I had a hard time getting through that one. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why I had such a hard time. I had to push myself to get through that one. I don't know why.
Yeah, you ever hear the saying?
It was so depressing.
Well, I forget where it came from, but I heard it one time. They said somebody never told me how boring the end of the world would be.
Yep.
And that reminded, it's a dull book. It is, but it still gets in your brain because by the time you're done, you're like, wow, that is And William Fortune, they're the one that did 1 Second After. He did a book called 48 Hours.
Oh, okay.
And if you think 1 Second After is dark, this one deals with the CME, and it's only one book. It's 10 times darker.
Interesting. I'll have to look that one up.
Do you have do you do audiobooks or do you read?
I do both.
Okay, because I do strictly audio at this point, and Audible, I think it's in the Audible Plus, with the free books or whatever. Cool. So it's worth it.
I do that. More Audible.
I'll have to check that out.
Do you ever see the movie? This is a deep one too, but from the 90s, Trigger Effect.
What is Trigger Effect?
Okay, so I know it's one of my favorite. It's based on that the old Twilight Zone episode, The Monsters on Maple Street, when the power goes out and everybody acts right crazy. It's okay, but anyway, the reason I bring it up is a lot of people haven't seen it. So if you're looking, it's pure 90s cheese, but it is
cool.
Trigger Effect.
Trigger Effect.
It's a good one. And basically the power goes out and nobody has any information. They don't know what's going on. Yes. So the whole movie is I don't know what the hell's going on. What's going on? People, of course, shootings in the neighborhood, just all that stuff where people, I wouldn't say society collapses, but everybody gets really, really tense trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
I like the sound of it.
Yeah, it sounds great.
It's got Kyle MacLachlan in it and forget who else, but it's I'm always looking for good recommendations. So what about any other books you've read that you recommend or anything you really like?
As far as a reader in the apocalyptic genre?
Yeah, whatever. Anything really.
Like I said, I'm in the middle of Lucifer's Hammer. That is fantastic. Last Babylon is amazing. We've got a book list out there on the website that has a bunch, but there's not a whole lot of fiction there. I really liked Raven Rock. I don't know if you've read that. So it's called Raven Rock. It's got a really long freaking title. The story of how the U.S. government will save itself and let the rest of us die or something like that. So basically it goes through the entire like doomsday scenario for the government and how they'll save themselves, and talks about all their bunkers and all of the procedures and things like that they have. So it's not fiction, it's nonfiction, but it's fantastic. It is a fun book to read, but it's pretty deep. It goes into a lot of different things, but that one's really fun.
Have you ever read Patriots by John Wesley Rawls?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's one we
somebody sent me that book, and I have it.
Okay.
But I've never read it.
It reads like I hate to shit on things because I mean I couldn't write, you know what I mean? And it's not a bad book, but it's basically a whole bunch of prepper manuals strung together with a little bit of narrative. So it's
kind of what a
lot of them get that way.
It reads like an Amazon shopping list. It's like
okay, that makes sense, because there's something when I was skimming through it, I'm like, this is weird.
It spends pages. It reads like if Stephen King wrote prepper porn and he was, you know, straight. Oh man, I don't want to shit on the poor author because I'm not talented like that. But it's just it's not a favorite.
It's okay not to like it. That's all right.
Yeah, I know. I'm an apologetic Canadian. I can't help it.
Yeah.
So you guys did another. I was kind of surprised. This summer you guys did Bugging Out.
Yes.
Yeah. How did that come about? Did you just want to do something different, or?
Yeah, we were just kind of looking for a side project that sort of was in the same genre as what we were doing. And I've always had an interest in trying to produce a podcast that was very produced. It wasn't live. It had, you know, music beds, it had sound effects, it had interviews, it had voiceovers. And so I was like, let's just try it. I want to try this and see how it goes. And we were trying to find a topic. And the topic might surprise people after they know us, but we wanted to find a topic that would really kind of be interesting to somebody who might not be a prepper, but then who also is a prepper, right? And so that's why we chose Bugging Out, and we just kind of dive deep into all aspects of Bugging Out, and it's very highly produced, and we have interviews from different people, and so it's like, let's do it. And it took us about 6 months to produce, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't remember. It took a while.
Okay. Are you going to do a season 2?
I don't know. Maybe
down the road.
The reception was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it was okay. We'll see how it does. We'll leave it out there for a while and see who finds it and kind of what happens. I mean, some people absolutely, they just loved it. And some people are like, there wasn't any jokes. We didn't want to listen to this.
They were used to,
you know,
our other podcast, and kind of threw them off a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's what happens when you get pigeonholed. There was a guy I watched for a while. He was like debunking flat earthers, and then all of a sudden he starts like a running channel. Everybody's like, this isn't flat earth stuff. I'm like, yeah, but people are allowed to have different interests, you know? Like,
absolutely. I'm really into people having like interests and even passions that you don't have to be in the same lane all the time. Like I said, I like to do a lot of other things. I like reading and obviously prepping, and I'm really into jujitsu and things like that. But I think people need to have leeway to do whatever they want. And like again, being pigeonholed kind of sucks sometimes. And so yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. So if you had to do a podcast that wasn't prepping related whatsoever, you might say jujitsu, but what would it be on?
Mindless banter.
Yeah, I mean,
it would probably be whatever we want depending on the week.
Just us making fun of stuff, honestly. Like, that is our funnest thing. Like, just finding crazy articles or crazy topics or crazy stories and just making fun of it for an hour. Like, fun. That's what we love. Like, that's our favorite thing, I think.
We like to try and paint a picture of, usually it turns into like a redneck.
Yeah.
Given the story, and it's probably, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
how was it? How'd the conversation go when you first told your wives that you wanted to be podcasters, or was it not a big deal?
I don't think it wasn't a big deal.
No, because they seem really supportive. Like my wife is super supportive. She comes on the show sometimes too, but it helps, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. It's much easier, and it's a little easier now because we're not doing it in the basement. I go to work and we do it at work. We do this during the day. You know, obviously Cam has a full-time job, but we've worked it out to where he can come to the studio midday and we can produce a podcast. So it's much easier than it kind of used to be. It was kind of hard when it was in the basement and I'd have to yell at him, like, shut up, we're trying to do a podcast. I can't listen to you guys.
Nobody
screaming.
Walk or open the fridge.
Don't go to the bathroom. And so, but all the way along, they've been super supportive, and I don't know. I think they enjoy it.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
we like to bring them on.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's really shy, but it's very funny.
But I didn't think I'd get my wife on either, and then she came on, and she's like a little social butterfly, and then she's been on 3 or 4 times since. You know?
Awesome. That's so cool. Super cool.
Have you turned it? Is it I mean, I don't like talking about finances, but
Mhm.
is it a business for you now? Like, is it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah,
That's
it's
key.
there's stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't really like to say it a lot, but like it is a
No.
business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we still run it like it's our passion. You
Yeah.
know, it's not all business.
It can be both. You're allowed to be both yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is like the business works when we're having fun. And so that's why we push the fun. Like it has to be fun. If we're not having fun, then this business doesn't work.
Right.
And so that's the way we look at it. Like, yes, it's a business and
Yeah, that's true.
there's a tiny bit of money coming in and it's all paying for itself, but it's got to be fun or we're not going to continue rolling, you know?
That's cool.
Hmm.
We've been an hour and 2, guys. I told you I'd keep it to 60. We rolled past it real quick there, so I didn't want to. I got to respect your time, but this was a lot of fun.
It's easy. It's easy to BS.
Yeah, it sure is. I love it.
You're easy to talk to.
We need to come back. We need to do an episode just on signs, an hour on signs.
Seriously, if you're up for it, if you're not bullshitting, I'll have you back. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I think we should. I think it'd be fun.
So
we'll prepare stuff. We'll really get ready
all week, every day. And then we'll go into it.
So when I first started, I would ask people, this is how it would go. Give me 8 questions you want me to ask you. So then I would ask people the questions, whatever, right? But it's really robotic. Like everybody. So, well, let me tell. So now what I do is I prep ahead of time. I dig into your guys' background, do background checks. I ask the cops, talk to neighbors, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But it seems to, I never try to jump over, like surprise people with things, but I enjoy the initial get to know your story that way a little better, but I love, if you're game for it, friggin' right, I'll have you on. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it'd be fun.
We'll maybe for the new year or something like that, if that works for you.
It'll work. Yep.
Cool. So for the 3 people out there who don't know who Cam and Coby are, how do they find you?
3 people. How do they find us, Cameron?
You can find us on iTunes, you can Podbean, you can go to YouTube, Walmart, Amazon.
Actually, talk
on Amazon.
Yeah, we are on Amazon.
We're pretty much every platform. So
any podcast platform
Instagram,
out there,
Instagram, TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're on it.
Pretty much any social media platform, we're there. You can also go to the website, casualpreppers.com.
That's right.
Boy, I think that's it, right? That's all the places. That's all the places.
Cabot wants to know if you guys actually passed the background test for coming on the show. So I think we busting your balls a little bit.
I hope we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must
well,
have.
thank you guys. This was I appreciate it. And I got you marked down for sign. So if you want to hang for right quick, I'll end up the broadcast here and we're all set.
Beautiful.
Perfect. I'm just going to hide you. There you go. So
cool.
Well, guys, that was awesome. Thanks for dropping by and asking questions to Cam and Coby. It was too much fun having them on. So I appreciate you guys dropping in. And guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.